Would you look at that? It's still here. Hi, I'm Michelle Sterling for Friends of Science Society, and this is my late mother's natural gas Magic Chef stove. She got it in 1948 and cooked on it probably 3 meals a day for about 200 days of the year, from then until 2008 when she passed away. Can you believe it? It's still here. I know it's still actually in working condition, but I know that all you Gasma freaks are going to go crazy when I tell you this. My mom lived well into her 90s, and yet we had this gas stove that actually had a live gas pilot light burning all day and night. And we didn't have asthma. None of us got sick. And, things were good. In fact, you know what you had to do then, right? Is when the pilot light was on here, that was fine. But if you wanted to turn on the oven, it was a bit of a trick because you had to light a match. Do people even know what matches are anymore? Anyway, it was kind of tricky because you had to turn the gas flow on, and then this was the amount of heat, right? So the amount of gas. So you'd have to turn that on, light a match, turn on a little bit of gas here, and then drop that match down through the hole and hope that it would light the gas underneath. I know all the Gasma freaks are horrified at this. Horrified, right? And we also had a natural gas furnace in our house when I was growing up. And it too was about 40 years old. And it had a pilot light. And that pilot light was burning all the time. But, we're fine. We all grew up fine. None of us had asthma. Nobody had any heart conditions. All those things that they try and tell you about natural gas, that's just insanity. It's not true. So anyway, it's just great to see that it's still here. Of course, it's a little bit dirty, beat up, but, it's a little piece of history of how people went from cooking on actually a coal or a wood stove, which really has a lot of not very good emissions, to cooking on a gas stove. And one of the things that my mom used to like to do is she'd put some water in a kettle and just leave it on the stove at a very low heat. And I used to ask her, why are you doing that? And she said, when she grew up on the farm, there's always a kettle on the stove because, either your coal or your wood fire was burning all the time. And that's how you always had hot water. You had hot water for soup, for tea, for when the men came in from the field, they could wash up with hot water. So it was something that reminded her of growing up on the farm, and I guess kind of reminded her of her mom, who had passed away when she was quite young. Anyhow, so the Magic Chef kept us healthy all these years, gave us many wonderful meals, and many thanks to my mom for all those meals she cooked for us on her gas stove. And she was living proof, and I'm living proof, that cooking with natural gas isn't going to hurt you. So it's also not going to heat up the climate. It's not going to cause climate change, and it's not going to cause the next flood or the next big rainstorm. Extreme weather events are unrelated to carbon dioxide emissions, and they're not related to your natural gas stove. For Friends of Science Society, I'm Michelle Sterling.